Well, one of the interesting attributes of Bitcoin is that for the first time in history, it separates money from the state, or it separates money from any centralized control whatsoever. So money becomes something entirely different than we've been used to in our entire history as humans on this planet. Most of the time, we have two problems with money. One is concentration of power or concentration of wealth, because money throughout history has been pretty much what's called proof of stake. If I have a lot of money, I have influence, and I can change laws to make it easier for me to get more money. It's corruption, and it's because of the nature of the money that we've had for millennia. And the same applies to gold, by the way. But with Bitcoin, it's a system called proof of work. It's not proof of stake. And no matter how many Bitcoin anybody has or any organization has, they have no influence at all to change the protocol. So it's very egalitarian in that sense. And it also, for the first time, is a savings technology, which has a huge impact on folks. It's the first time in history that anybody on any budget can store their wealth, and it can be unconfiscatable, and the price of protecting that wealth is virtually zero. If you look at how wealth is aggregated today, usually those with a lot of wealth spend a lot of money protecting that wealth. They have security guards, they have vaults, they have a lot of lawyers, they have a lot of accountants, there's a lot of politicians, right? There's a huge cost to protecting and maintaining that wealth. Well, with Bitcoin, you don't need any of that. You just have to memorize your seed phrase. That's it. And that's available to anybody.
Bitcoin has reached an inflection point and is about to explode, whilst fiat money continues its inevitable collapse. That's the latest message out from Max Keiser. In Max Keiser's latest interview, he spoke on the transformative potential of Bitcoin and why over the course of human history there is a clear trend amongst fiat currencies. On a long enough time span, they go to zero. Max believes that Bitcoin's decentralized nature offers individual sovereignty and financial security, making it a crucial alternative to traditional fiat currencies, which he believes are a cancer. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where Max Keiser reveals why Bitcoin is the future of money and where he believes its price is headed in 2024. Also guys, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. If you enjoy staying up to date with finance content, consider subscribing or liking the video. It's free and you can always change your mind. Now here's Max Keiser with why he thinks Bitcoin is about to go parabolic.
Yeah, I guess to look at this from the perspective of 300 years of an experiment with fiat money, which started with the Bank of England back in 1694, 1696 period. And then in 1971, we had another chapter in that experiment where the entire world went entirely on a fiat money standard without any currency backed by anything other than other fiat money. And so now this is ending. This 300-year period is ending. And we're heading into the Bitcoin standard era where you have Bitcoin becomes the global reserve. And so different countries are reacting to this in different ways. Obviously in El Salvador, the president was Nayib Bukele. Very quickly, he's been following Bitcoin. He understood that it's a way to leapfrog into the 21st century ahead of everybody else. And that's exactly what's going on. We mentioned some of the turmoil going on around the world, and people have called this the fourth turning, right? This is the simultaneous kind of a cyclical nature happening on multiple levels where you find the end of multi-hundred-year, multi-thousand-year cycles and the beginning of a new cycle. And in that perspective, you could say that El Salvador is the first out of the fourth turning. It's the first country to emerge from a really horrible 40-year period that they went through with the Civil War and the gang war. So I think that El Salvador is positioned as the new shining city on a hill. I say that the new Statue of Liberty is a volcano in El Salvador, and other countries are going to get to this place at their own pace. So in the case of the United States, which has the US dollar and world reserve currency, they're going to reach this place at a different pace than other countries. Countries where you have hyperinflation like Venezuela or Argentina or Zimbabwe and these other countries, they're obviously poised to more rapidly embrace Bitcoin as a way to save their economies. You have countries in Europe are kind of in the middle. So what we're seeing now is, depending on where you come from, it will depend on how quickly you adapt to Bitcoin as world reserve currency. But that is the end game. That's where we're all going.
And
who's, let's say, an artist who sells art, they make, let's say, 20% of the nominal per capita income in a country, or 50% of it, the capita income. But they're happy to do that because they just want to be artists. They don't want to be grinding it out as a lawyer, perhaps. But they can put their savings into Bitcoin, and it's inflation proof. So their purchasing power will always go up. The purchasing power will mathematically continue to go up forever. And they can be free to express who they are. And I think that's part of this Renaissance 2.0, is that it frees up self-expression in a way that we haven't seen since the Enlightenment, since we haven't seen since the Renaissance. And that's totally enabled because of the savings technology, this unconfiscatable separation of money and state called Bitcoin. So all of the changes are incredibly positive. And whether this introduces another cycle, I think that, I'm sure it does, but I think that the nature of this cycle is quite interesting in a number of different ways, but I don't see it being one that heads back into kind of a dystopian ditch at the end of the cycle. I think this is the beginning of something truly spiritual, which is as a species, we've been lacking in a lot of ways to make contact with that on a sustained basis. As individuals, we have moments of spiritual beauty, or we have aesthetic beauty, or we go and we see art at the museum and we're like, wow, I'm moved emotionally by this. But imagine being able to ride that wave for your entire life and just be on that vibe. Well, this is what Bitcoin offers. This is part of the philosophy of Bitcoin. Beyond the monetary and the technology of it, there's an ethos and an aesthetic that is transformative. And we see it here. So people in El Salvador, even though they don't use it, necessarily Bitcoin, they're aware of it. And once you start thinking about it, it changes the way you think. So I say, and I've said for many years now, you don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you, if you allow that to happen. So that's what I'm looking for. Right. Well, clearly CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, are on the other side of the fight toward individual sovereignty and freedom. Good. CBDCs are highly centralized, highly controlled. It's the fiat money on steroids. It's fiat money, everything you hate about fiat money, but much worse. And so that's clearly on the battle it will be fought against central bank digital currencies. And I think that what we can look for and what we can be helpful about is that the battle is going to be all about energy and energy use. And Bitcoin uses a lot of energy. We know this. And so do CBDCs, so does the military use a lot of energy. So does AI, artificial intelligence, use a lot of energy. And we want most of the energy, or all of the energy, we want it to be hashing Bitcoin. So Bitcoin and the energy used by Bitcoin is the energy that gives everyone individual sovereignty and freedom, and the ability to opt out of the monetization of violence and to opt into the monetization of love, or the demonetization of violence. That's what the energy usage in Bitcoin allows us to do. And the good news is, if you look at the amount of energy that Bitcoin uses, what's called the hash rate, it's absolutely skyrocketing. And it's never been in a bear market, really. It's been going up for 12, 13 years. And that tells me, from a spiritual perspective, that the forces of good are throwing energy at Bitcoin as a way to fight against evil. And I think today, if you were to look at the amount of energy that Bitcoin uses and the rate at which it's increasing, you would say good is triumphing over evil. So this gives me a lot of hope. And I don't think centralization in anything works at all, except cancer. Cancer is the only thing that seems to work to be overly centralized and parasitic. That's the cancer model. But I think we're going to win against the cancer of CBDCs.
I think a lot of people also probably instinctively, or maybe in your audience, in the red pill audience, would like gold. But the thing about gold,
That's right.
The thing about gold is it's expensive to, defend it, to keep that property safe. So often you'll find very isolated people, like out in the, out in the wilderness, like hiding with their gold and burying it, right? Whereas Bitcoin is a liberating thing, because all you need are the 12 words in your head. That's all you need to memorize, and you're free. Like, you don't need to worry about anybody stealing your stuff, because it's right in your head. You protect. It's the ultimate property, right? Like, nobody can take it from you. No government, no guy with any gun, nobody. Like, nobody can come to your property and just take it. You have to give it to them. So it's all you need to do is trust yourself. And if you trust yourself, then you're totally free.
So there's Max Keiser with his bold vision for the future of finance. His message about Bitcoin's potential as the world reserve currency and the dawn of Renaissance 2.0 resonates with many. As we reflect on Keiser's words, it's clear that Bitcoin's rise represents a significant shift in the global financial landscape. Whether one fully embraces this change or not, the influence of Bitcoin cannot be ignored. It's a reminder that we're entering an era of decentralized innovation and individual empowerment. In the end, Keiser's message encourages us all to consider the possibilities of a world where traditional financial systems are replaced by the transformative power of Bitcoin. Before we go, a quick reminder for those who are keen on staying updated in the fast-paced world of crypto and Bitcoin. Consider subscribing to our daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. It's a concise resource for the latest expert predictions, breaking news, and top on-chain analysis trusted by over 50,000 subscribers for insightful crypto investment information. Click the first link in the description to join our community and elevate your crypto investment knowledge today. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.